Week 3 of the NFL season kicks off tonight, so it's time to make our picks today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On NFL Scouting your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100.
Joe, in honor of Takes on Takes tomorrow, I have a take for you. And I know you're probably going to agree with it because I can see it in your camera frame right now. And it was before you held up your Bills Yeti tumbler, so it's not that. The best addition that you can make for a home office is some LED lighting.
Yeah.
That's my take. That's my take. I just got a strip for under my work desk. So now I've got an underlight for my work desk as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I got obviously the neon bar sign over my shoulder here. I got one behind my TV, just like you do. And now I've got one for under my desk, and I'm pumped about it.
They add a little pizzazz to the room, my guy.
That's right. Yeah, it gives you some flavor.
Yeah.
You know? Sometimes it's hard working late at night, grinding tape, watching TV, watching the Thursday night football game when the Giants are getting their rear ends kicked by the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, my.
You just take that commercial break to kind of look around, and you got like the calming, soothing tones. You can customize the color for your mood if you want to. It's good. It's good stuff.
So, Takes on Takes is tomorrow. So,
I guess we should probably acknowledge that too.
Yeah. This YouTube video, leave a comment with your take for us to entertain tomorrow.
Yes,
please.
But tonight
is
the start of week 3 of the 2023 NFL season, and we have to cover who we think is going to win all the games. As an update, Joe, you went 10-6 last week, which is one game better. You're stacking wins. You're one game better than you were in week 1, so that's good.
4 back though, right?
You were 3 back.
Okay, 3 back.
I'm sure we're gonna have a blast with this, but Draft Dudes do math. You were 9-7 and 10-6, so that's 19-13, correct?
Sure.
And I went 10-6 and then 12-4. Which is 22-10. So 3 games back. Yes.
We both played the same number of games. That's going to make this easy,
True.
You know?
Yeah. So shout out to the 2 games last week, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Seattle Seahawks against the Detroit Lions were the swings for us last week. I think we're probably going to be in lockstep here for Thursday Night Football, though. New York at San Francisco.
The Giants of New York.
The Giants, New York Giants. Yes, that's correct. And makes me think of Madagascar with the lemurs.
I am coming with you.
All hail the New York Giants.
Yeah. I would love to become a professional whistler. I love Madagascar, man. I'm not going to lie. Big fan. Good poll.
Yeah. King Julian, right?
Yeah, he's the man.
Got his own spinoff there on Netflix or whatever it was.
It's not bad either. It's not bad.
Yeah, Draft Dads. San Francisco's going to have themselves a good time, I think, tonight. No Andrew Thomas, no Saquon Barkley. It's a gut punch for a Giants team that has started slow. They bounced back in the second half last week against Arizona, pulled out the win, but it just feels like an uphill struggle for them, and they're not going to have a chance to really get right, I think, against San Francisco without some key pieces.
Couldn't think of a worse situation than a Thursday night matchup in San Francisco for the Giants.
For the record, the Locked On NFL Scouting picks against the spread We went 8-8 in week 1. We went 7-9 in week 2. So losing record against the spread. So we're adjusting the methodology a little bit, trying to find like the right buttons to push. So we made some adjustments. You don't need to know what those adjustments were. You just need to know adjustments were made. And this has the 49ers without Saquon Barkley and Andrew Thomas covering that 10.5 point spread on tonight's game. So San Francisco covering the spread in accordance to our roster rankings. 1 o'clock.
Really?
Ready to just kind of follow as the sheet has here.
This game, I call it the battle for NFC respect.
Really?
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons, Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
If there are two teams that are battling for respect, isn't the team that comes out of this with a win still going to have the asterisk of, well, they beat another team that we don't respect?
No, but I think Atlanta getting to 3-0 is huge while putting Detroit into a 1-2 spot. That's not good. And then all of a sudden, if Detroit goes out and wins this game 2-1, you feel like, okay, we're on track. We're ready to go here.
Who do you have?
Lions at home.
I also have Lions at home reluctantly.
Because if Bijan gets the ball 25 times, the Lions can't stop him.
Well, yeah, you don't love what Detroit has up front for a running game and an offensive line like Atlanta has. I just feel like Atlanta's margin for error is not good. Now Detroit lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so he'll be down. Brian Branch, elevated role. Can you capitalize on that? I don't know that they have the passing game to really test Detroit in a multifaceted way. So I think this comes down to, can Atlanta's scheme trump the Dan Campbell grit card? And with Detroit at home coming off of a tough loss, I think they will bounce back. And you got Atlanta 2-0. You're starting to get to the point where like the psychology of teams can come into play a little bit more here this season. And I think Detroit gets it done. But I think this is a legit coin toss game. Case in point, FanDuel has a spread at 3.5 when you get 3 for playing at home. So Locked On NFL Scouting Picks Against the Spread has this at Detroit -5. So we will take Detroit -3.5. Next
Detroit.
game?
Yep.
Next game. Chargers Vikings. The Nuclear Bowl.
That's fair.
We're trying to avoid nuclear. This game, I believe, flipped. I believe it was Minnesota at home to start. Shout out Minnesota trading pick swaps for Cam Akers. Who would have thought and Alexander Madison as your lead back would not give you the warm and fuzzies, although to be fair, they played Tampa Bay and Philadelphia the first 2 weeks, so not surprised you can't really run the ball. I think they have less than 70 yards rushing as a team thus far this season.
Throwing it okay. This is such an interesting contrast because it feels like we talked about it yesterday with the Vikings, 7 turnovers, no interceptions, or was it 1?
Yeah.
Does he have 1 or 0 interceptions? Kirk,
they have one turnover on the season. They're -6 in turnover differential.
That's right. And then the Chargers, who have like played well enough to win but haven't. It's going to be weird. There are weird things will happen in this game.
And we're taking the over, right? I don't know what it is, but
points.
A lot of throwing the ball, a lot of points. I think the Chargers go on the road, and I ultimately think they're a more well-rounded and more talented team. So I think they win the football game.
I am 100% with you. I have the Chargers winning on the road.
Okay. And the line that we have there is 2. Chargers should be favored by 2. They're favored by 1.5. So we are going to, for Locked On NFL Scouting, roster power rankings perspective against the spread, take the Chargers to cover the spread as well. So 3 games picked, Joe, 3 favorites selected to cover their respective spreads here. So we get started on this slate for week 3.
All right, we'll see if that continues the rest of the way. But first, need to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the funnest, easiest, quickest way to play daily fantasy sports. It's super exciting. The format is awesome. It's just you against the numbers. It's not you against thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. It's just you versus the numbers. All you do is select 2 or more players. You pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. That's it. Doesn't take long. Picks can be made in under a minute, and then withdrawals are super quick and super easy. Love watching football. love it even more when I have a Prize Picks entry going into a slate of games. It just makes it that much more exciting. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected, and that's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. The Jase Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you're not just hoping you have access to the medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure that you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. So don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using our promo code LOCKEDON at checkout at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com, promo code LOCKEDON.
Joe, it's the same. Jase Case doesn't have any throat lozenges in there for you.
No, but I'm right here, brother. It's been a battle all week, my guy.
Yeah, I saw you start the second read, and I was like, "Oh boy, he's going through it right now."
Battle.
It's been since you came back from your trip this weekend. You've been been swimming upstream with scratchiness, but nothing else.
Nothing else, just the throat. The one thing I can't have as a professional podcaster.
Professional
take my pinky, take my toe. You can't have my throat, but here we are.
Next game, Saints at Packers. And this is the asterisk game because if Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins and Aaron Jones and Christian Watson don't play, I'm not going to pick the Packers to win the football game.
Right.
I'll openly, we'll say it now, but then we wait for inactives 90 minutes before the game. And if I got to come back in the sheet and toggle it, I'll toggle it.
Yeah, I think we should reserve the right to do that because, like, if those guys play, I'm going Packers at home. But there's enough injuries there for Green Bay where I'm like, I think the Saints win the game. Now, I'm still nervous about the Saints' offense against the Packers' defense, but we need probably at least 2 of those offensive players between Bakhtiari, Jenkins,
right,
Jones, and Watson. I need
ideally, you get 1 lineman and 1 skill player.
Yes, please.
And if you got that, I feel really good about Green Bay's chances, and I would pick Green Bay to win the game.
Yeah.
It's a Green Bay at home. So is that where you're at as well? We're of like mind there?
Yeah, Green Bay at home, but we'll have a little text exchange about 11:30 on Sunday morning. You sticking with them or not?
So for the record, the NFL scouting picks against the spread has Packers minus 2.1. But that's that's with everybody playing. So even if you get 2 out of 4 from a picks against the spread perspective, it would flip to New Orleans because you'd have lesser players stepping into those roles. The roster total is less, which means you get less points, which means it would affect the spread. So that's going to be a game that will be in flux. We will do our due diligence on that one because that has admittedly bit us from doing the show on Thursday for games that happen on Sundays. There's been some games that we've taken L's on and picks against the spreads that we've taken L's on. But we want the content to be out there for you guys. So Texans, Jaguars, really fascinating line movement on this game. It was 9.5. It's down to 8.5. I don't know why.
Maybe it has something to do with kind of Jacksonville we scored 9 points against Kansas City, who's not a defense that I think we're celebrating.
They also could have scored like 27.
They didn't
put the ball in bounds.
In Houston, I mean, Stroud's throwing the football a little bit, right? They have some production there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's enough. I think Jacksonville wins at home, but
yeah. So I think for just us, we are not picking against the spread, of course. So we're both picking Jacksonville to win the game. If Jacksonville and Houston would need to get like significant reinforcements. I know Tunsil was injured. You had Ward and Petrie that were banged up. As things currently stand, we do have Jacksonville covering their spread at 8.5. I feel even better about it at 8.5 versus I think on Tuesday it was 9.5 on FanDuel. So the line has come down, which I think gives you better value for picking Jacksonville. So We are in lockstep there. Our next 1 o'clock game, the Miami Dolphins have their home opener against the Denver Broncos.
I don't like this at all for Denver. I have a hard time finding the margins that allow me to think Denver can keep this game close.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I feel like defensively, Denver, I don't like the way they match up with Miami. And I don't like the way Russ Wilson's playing football right now. And I feel like with Jalen Phillips back, Brad Chubb against his former team, that just hit me.
Yep. Vic Fangio.
Yeah, dude. I don't like this at all. And going to South Florida in September is going to be pretty toasty down there. I'm sure you got to play. You got to put them in the sun at 1 o'clock. You know,
heat index is, and Miami's in all white, and Denver's.
You know how this goes.
Denver's other color is navy blue. So
they're going fry.
And heat index can be about 97 at kickoff.
How many sacks are the Dolphins going to have in this game? 6.
Well, Washington had 7 last week. I would be so. Here's the thing about Russ, because you and I both, for different reasons, watched Washington Denver yesterday. You watched it because you're playing Washington, and I'm playing Denver. Any semblance of color flashing in Russ's face, and the eyes go down, and we look to run. And there were a couple of really bad exchanges. The sack he took on the last possession in the red zone when they kicked the field goal to cut it to 8. Inexcusable play. He threw the ball to 3 defensive linemen in that play.
Unlike back-to-back plays.
Right. And then on the third down, he turns his back. He did the Jacob Eason, the patented Jacob Eason scramble, where I'm going to turn to my right and spin out to my left and try to loop back around and lose 15 yards in the process. It wasn't 15 yards, but it was bad loss. So as much as the statistics show growth for Russ versus last year, I came away very underwhelmed from the way he played. So I will pick Miami to win the game as well. NFL Scouting Against the Spread has this at 6. Miami minus 6.8. It's at 6.5, which means we are taking Miami to cover that spread as well. Storyline to watch is if Jalen Waddle is out of concussion protocol. He was at practice and stretching yesterday, so that's a good start. But then for Denver's side of things, Justin Simmons did not participate. Mike Purcell did not participate in practice yesterday, and Frank Clark did not participate in practice yesterday. Buffalo.
I think you skipped one.
I did. You're right. Tennessee at Cleveland. And this is the first time I am not falling in line with NFL Scouting Against the Spread thus far this week. I am picking the Titans to win this football game. And I know I don't think you like that, because the way your body just adjusted right there, you're 3 games behind in the standings. My gut tells me you picked the Browns initially.
You think I'm rolling with Deshaun Watson against Vrabel? No way.
Picking the Titans?
Especially with, acclimating now to Jerome Ford, who I know he made some explosive plays, and I like Jerome Ford, but come on now. Like, right now, that was the thing you could lean on was Nick Chubb. I think a high floor team like Tennessee, I know it's a road game. I'm not going to be different for you on this one. I'm not going down like that.
Were you originally?
If you would have picked Cleveland, I would have aligned with Cleveland.
Okay. So the concern here, take the under in the game.
Oh, God.
The first advice, if it's 28, take the under. This has the potential to have a lot of turnovers, a lot of negative plays, a lot of sacks. Tannehill, threw 3 picks last week?
At least in week 1 he did. I don't remember.
In week 1, excuse me.
They won last week. So.
Yeah.
Beat the Chargers, right?
Yes, correct. So in week 1, so a lot of turnovers from Tannehill in that regard. Don't love the Tennessee wide receivers matching up against Cleveland's defensive backs. Really don't love Tennessee trying to block Cleveland's defensive line. So, I don't think Tennessee has a very high ceiling for scoring points. But Cleveland losing Chubb, Cleveland losing Jack Conklin. I think Cleveland's a more turnover-averse, risk-averse team. Tennessee is a more risk-averse team, which means Cleveland, I think, is higher pendency to turn the ball over, which against Tennessee in a game that's probably going to be a grinded-out game, I think, sets the stage for some tough situational football that the Browns might find themselves in. I just don't see Deshaun dialing it in to flip the switch.
Yeah, I agree. And if you say mean things about Deshaun Watson, he will block you on Twitter. So just be mindful of that.
That's fine. NFL Scouting has the Browns covering 3.5. So that's our first where we're flying in the face of conventional wisdom. According to our own assessments, the Bills in the nation's capital, Joe. I guess technically not, because it is Virginia that they play. Technically.
Okay.
Against the Commanders. Bills favored by 6.5. I think that's an insultingly low line for Buffalo, and I think they romp them.
I think the Bills win the game.
Do you think they romp them?
I think it's more likely, the most likely outcome of Commanders commanding win, Commanders tight win, Bills tight win, Bills romp. I think the most likely is a Bills romp, but it's the NFL. Commanders got pass rush,
Bill
right?
Hader, Joe Marino.
Bills don't want to, can't be looking ahead the next week, back at home against the Miami Dolphins, got to be mindful of all the stuff, but I think the Bills will take care of their business and Commanders will get their first loss of the season.
Ravens Colts, our next game.
Ravens.
We have Bills covering 6.5 for against the spread.
Ravens.
I also have the Ravens winning this game as well. So we're seeing this week pretty similarly thus far, Joe. Baltimore favored by 7.5 points. Colts have been like scrappy.
Yeah, they're a good bad team.
A good bad team is the perfect way to put it.
It's what they are. They're a good bad team.
They're and even with the concussion to Anthony Richardson, if it's Gardner Minshew, like I don't necessarily feel any different about their prospects for the game.
No.
I do think it'll be a fun game. I do think Baltimore, even in spite of the injuries that they have incurred, really impressed what they did last week against Cincinnati. I'll pick Baltimore to win the game, and we have NFL Scouting. Even amidst the injuries, we have Baltimore covering the 7.5 point spread. We have that around an 8-point split. Our last 1 o'clock game, Joe, before we got to go to the 4 p.m. in prime time slot. Jets looking to get the monkey off their back here. They're hosting the New England Patriots. I believe it's 14 in a row.
Jeez.
It's been since 2015 was the last time that they've beaten the New England Patriots.
I think
they're getting into that record-setting territory.
Yeah,
they only got a few more to go.
Aaron Rodgers plays in this game. I think the Jets win it, but I think that the Patriots can play a high enough floor level of football, running the ball, playing defense, making Zach Wilson be the reason they win the game. I don't like that. I think the Patriots have shown a little bit more than I thought through 2 games. And I think they can play a little bit more of a complete game against the Jets and get their first win of the season.
I have absolutely zero confidence that the Jets are not going to have 3 turnovers in the game against Bill Belichick.
Oh, they're going to have 3 turnovers in the game.
So with that in mind, I'm picking the Patriots because they play a close to the vest, let you beat yourself type of brand of football. I haven't seen it from Zach. And I know you played Dallas last week, and I know that was tough. I'm not buying. So put me down for the Patriots as well. NFL Scouting against the spread has Patriots -3. So we are taking Patriots to cover the spread in that game as well, Joe.
All right, we got the 4 o'clock slate, the Sunday Night Football, Monday Night doubleheader coming up here in just a moment. But first, we got to tell you about Bird Dogs. Love this brand. They have amazing joggers, amazing shorts. Love wearing them. They have great design. The Bird Dog stretch khaki shorts, they're designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg to give you that sculpted look. There's a lot of good variety over there at Bird Dogs. A lot of different types of shorts for whatever occasion you're looking for. And everybody talks about Lululemon. Bird Dogs do the exact same thing, but they actually fit way better. They fit better than any other short, especially shorts that are made of that stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed that problem. They invented cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so that it gives you a slimmer fit without having to sacrifice any movement. They also have the anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. We took my daughter to the Land of Oz in the North Carolina mountains.
Fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. Had my Bird Dogs on. We're walking outside for 3 hours. I was comfortable. I was dry all day long. So check them out. go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL and enter promo code LockedOnNFL for a free water bottle at checkout. In fact, I just bought my nephew a pair of Bird Dogs for his birthday. I got myself that water bottle. It's great for the gym. Check it out. Again, birddogs.com/LockedOnNFL. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Both of them.
Okay, so the bad news is there's only 3 4 o'clock games this week. The good news is we're not going to have to spend much time at all talking about any of them.
No, and this actually works out good for you. The good news is that you and I have 1 o'clock games to cover that bleeds into the 4 o'clock. And you're not that concerned about missing too much of this.
Right. Yeah, I can live without catching any of Dallas at Arizona and Chicago at Kansas City. We're picking the
Chiefs and
teams
Cowboys
that have a legitimate chance to be the best team in their respective conferences. For me, they were the last 2 days the number one team in each conference.
Going up against the worst and the second worst in the conference in the NFC Power Rankings.
Yeah, so miss me with that. Physically incapable of caring less about those 2 games. So we'll see if either the Cardinals or Bears can make it interesting. I wouldn't hold my breath. The only
this is fun. How many combined points do the Bears and Cardinals score? Do they combine for 21?
No.
Inclined to agree. I mean, Arizona's not scoring against Dallas, right? There's no way they get more than like 10 to 13, right?
Correct.
Now the Chiefs, I think the Bears have a better chance to score, but like, Justin Fields just go out there and be himself. He's gonna go play himself. He's gonna throw coaching the win. He's gonna go play the game. He knows how to play it.
Don't let that coaching get in your ear. We're the bad guys, though. The media took it out of context, trying to divide the locker room. Carolina at Seattle, the other 4 o'clock game. Seattle at home favored by 6. Carolina blasted with injuries right now. It's tough sledding for them. I'm picking Seattle to win the game. NFL Scouting Against the Spread is picking Carolina to cover the 6, which is a little surprising just because of Shaq Thompson and J.C. Horn, and both starting guards are all out. Did I forget anybody?
Bryce Young has an ankle injury. I think he's limited. I don't know if it's going to be.
They'd get better quarterback play with not Bryce Young behind center.
Yeah. I think Seattle wins at home.
Okay. So that is only the second game thus far this week that you and I are fading NFL Scouting Against the Spread, which based off the first 2 weeks either means I made some good adjustments on how we're grading games,
or we're in trouble.
We're in for a rough week.
It feels like the easiest week to pick so far, but
correct. I
famous last words of a fool.
You have a little bit more confidence in who the teams are after a couple weeks,
and the matchups are not that compelling, right?
Correct. There's only a handful that are, within 2 points from a spread perspective. One of them is Raiders hosting the Steelers.
I hate this game, man. I hate it.
Low-key, I think the most surprising thing about either team is how well the Raiders' offensive line is grading out. Have you seen their pass block efficiency numbers?
They haven't given up a sack in 2 games against Bills and Denver. And Denver, decent pass rush against Washington.
Right. So that's a big surprise. I have Las Vegas at home winning the game. Begrudgingly.
I think them at home with less injuries.
Right.
Jacobs has to be more effective than he's been. And
well, you have to think with the linebacker play in Pittsburgh, no Cam Hayward inside. What's Minkah Fitzpatrick's status? No, he had a chest contusion. I think there's enough there. The spine of that Pittsburgh defense, I think, could be a weak point that the Raiders can run the ball between the tackles.
They needed 2 defensive touchdowns to beat Cleveland.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying the Raiders won't turn over the football. They'll do it. Jimmy G's very high propensity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And with 2 picks against the Bills. But did the Steelers have the linebackers to make cut plays in coverage like Milano and Bernard did? I don't know, man.
No.
I don't think so.
So
if Jimmy G finds
and
if Jimmy G will throw the football to Hunter Renfrow when he's open, which is all the time, that would be a big step for the Raiders.
just that's your first progression.
And they get Myers back this week, right? He should be cleared from concussion.
Yes, you would. That's a pretty safe assumption.
Give me the Raiders.
Matt Cannon still calling plays in Pittsburgh.
You know, you seen the chart. You see the chart. Was it the passing EPA and the rushing EPA?
Yeah.
You know, Steelers are down here in Australia. And the rest of the world, yes, the rest of the world, is somewhere over here.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's bad. So, okay. Raiders at home. NFL scouting against the spread has Pittsburgh covering the 2.5 points that they are currently getting. So that's our third game that we are picking and fading. Eagles at Bucks, Monday Night Football. Eagles favored by 4.5. Give me the Birds. I think it's an interesting game because of how Tampa has performed offensively this season. I think they're probably in for a little bit of a rude awakening against Philadelphia's defensive line. So I have the Eagles, even in the midst of their own kind of herky-jerky struggles to start the year.
Especially if Bradbury's back. I mean, I think those are the corners. Slay and Bradbury can match up with these Bucks wide receivers.
Well, and I don't think they're going to have the time to really work the ball down the field from a protection standpoint to take advantage of that anyway.
Dude, Josh Sweat was destroying the Vikings.
Monster,
dude. He's playing good ball right now. Yeah, I think the Eagles, despite on the road in Florida, Monday night, I think helps with
your
temps.
It'll be heat index of 90 at kickoff instead of heat index of 100 because it's the night game. NFL scouting against the spread has Eagles covering 4.5 as well. Do you want to wait on this game?
Yeah, I do. Monday, yes, we have to wait. We need to know more.
Rams and Bengals. Cincinnati's minus 2.5 at home. What is Joe Burrow's status? Like, we'll get through the weekend. We'll talk about it on Monday. But I feel a lot better about it because we have no idea.
If Jake Browning's starting for Cincinnati, it's a different football game.
Yeah, right. And one I don't feel good about for Cincinnati. So we're going to let that one go. But we have everything that you guys need through the weekend slate. We'll talk about this game on Monday and make our picks. We have takes on takes tomorrow. So in this YouTube video, if you're listening through your podcast feed, find us on YouTube and hit subscribe. But then leave your comment for your take for takes on takes tomorrow on the YouTube channel on this video. And we will tackle all of your hottest takes tomorrow on the show. I'm Kyle Crabbs. He is Joe Marino. We are Locked on NFL Scouting. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy Thursday Night Football tonight. And we'll be back again tomorrow for Takes on Takes.